Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to NSHR Media Network Sunday Special Report right here on BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show. Sunday, the August 31st, the year of our Lord 2025. Sadly, my voice has kind of blown out a bit. I will get through this tonight, I swear. So tonight, I'm going to be talking about the fact that Demorats are getting organized, and the stupid Republicans aren't paying any attention whatsoever. Now, it's been said that BZ has any number of axioms that he embraces, and that's definitely a truism. I make up words when necessary. For example, I customarily trot this out every election, and it has held me in really good stead throughout the decades. And that's this. My 1967 civics teacher in high school, named Mr. Helms, said something that when I tell the story, it's like, for whatever reason, of all the things that I completely forgot about in high school, most things, I never forgot this. And maybe it was because he was looking at me at the time. I don't know. I don't recall. But it was this. He said this: Democrats don't win elections. Republicans lose them. And since then, in retrospect, I've come to realize that's true just about every election, with some exceptions. The habit of Republicans is customarily to rip defeat right out of the jaws of victory. And how many times have we collapsed and said, I don't believe it. How could I possibly have seen that coming? And yet we saw it coming. And history continues to prove this. The most recent example of many was under President George Bush, when Republicans held, let me see if I can remember. Republicans held the Oval Office, the House, and the Senate, right? Anybody remember that? And no one could manage to get out of their own way and wield any amount of true power against the Demorats, who are our enemy, just like China is our enemy. You know, the Republicans, almost invariably, they fracture, they agree on little, and the rhino defeatist side, that wing, emerges in full force of all the people we've seen in the past, McCain, Flake, et al., and the ones that are here today, currently, Collins, Murkowski, blah, 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 ad nauseum, ad infinitum. And what should have been a raising of the Demorat Party turned out to be a risible comedy of really stupid errors. And we are still playing that game, kids, in 2025. So tonight I'm going to go over all the massive ways in which the Demorats are shooting themselves directly in the foot and perhaps even both feet. And at this point, you're beginning to applaud. And like me, when you hear some of this shit, you're going to inhale. You're going to shake your head. You're going to ask yourself for the 1,000th time, how does any of this even make sense. None of it does. Every day, just when you and I think that the Demorats can't become more over the top, stupid, insane, dangerously insane, they manage to find new, unusual, and creative ways in order to exceed with even greater amounts of excess. It's like, I didn't see that coming. I thought I'd seen everything. Apparently, I haven't seen everything. And we're going to continue to not see everything as the days and the weeks continue. Because truly, when you think about it, we still have a fairly decent way to go. Let's check in for comments, if I would. Phantom is here. Cosmic Bard is here, proving once again that all who wander are not lost. If you wonder, what is that a reference to? Well, you'd have to know Cosmic Bard, who in fact wields the power cosmic. And Phantom in chat, Phantom still chatting. And let's continue, if you will. So I was an instructor for any number of domains for 35 plus years in training. In just in Coptum, let's just say that. And so tonight, like any good presenter, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you. Because you, me, we have all heard this multiple times, but it just doesn't seem to get through the skulls of conservatives and Republicans, alleged conservatives, alleged Republicans. So already I'm going to the F word, wake the fuck up, conservatives and Republicans and the GOP. Insane or not. And I'm going to trot out an excess, a plethora of articles to illustrate that. The Demorats excel at cheating, circling wagons, lying, anything to win, everything to win. And if they take the House and or the Senate, the rest of the stuff that's occurred since January is going to mean predominantly nothing. Because guaranteed, all of that, if not turned completely upside down, tits up, then there will be obstructions from now till the end of 47's term. You can take that to the bank if we have banks left. There is never going to be a big red wave. And historically, at midterms following a presidential change, those holding the Oval Office don't have a really great history of kicking ass in this nation. If we go back and think about those sorts of things, we, conservatives, the GOP, Republicans, like-minded individuals who love this nation and its freedom, we are too confident, we are too assumptive, we are too assured, we are too arrogant. I want you to listen closely to this, because we say we're the ones that have all the facts. We have the facts working with us. We can have all the facts and charts and graphs and polls and double-blind studies and research and articles and white papers, the very clearest of evidence that would glaze the brain of actual thinking people. But we have to realize, and I will tell you this now, and I will wrap it up with this, at the conclusion of the show, I don't expect to be any more than an hour, if that. Facts, get it through your brain. Facts mean something to us. Facts mean nothing to Demorats, leftists, anarchists, globalists at all. Emotions mean pretty much everything. Look at our recent history, the evidence that we have had that's been trotted out ever since 45, and the revelations that have occurred ever since 47, the tons of revelations. And it's like, no, don't believe it. Phantom says in chat, our egos are too big. Let me put that up. I have to say that's absolutely correct. but it's very sad. See, and all of this stuff is stopped and stymied by lawfare and protests and riots and burning and terrorism and activist, anarchist, black-robed judges, suits, dangerously insane Demorats and leftists who have proven time and time again that they think nothing. Think of the shades of this, the scope of this. These people think absolutely nothing of sacrificing hundreds of actual Americans because they've done it. Oh, wait, no. Thousands of actual Americans. No, wait. Hundreds of thousands of actual Americans injured and killed on the altar of their corrupt, demented, disgusting anti-American philosophy. They couldn't care less. You know, like the Dirty Harry movie. Sacrifices have to be made, mister. You're a sacrifice. Don't be. Get out of your own way. And that's what basically the scope of this show is about. I repeat, it all means nothing. If you think that we have the neck, we have the Demorats by the glottis, don't go there, because you don't. See my hand? I have my hand on the neck and the glottis of Demorats. Oh, wait, it's empty air. That's correct. So all the stories, all the videos that I'm going to trot out for your viewing pleasure and consumption tonight, they all essentially mean nothing. They mean, let me not belittle that too much. They mean everything to us. I mean, who could dispute facts? We can't dispute facts besides anybody who isn't a Demorat, a leftist, a Demorat socialist, an anarchist, a communist, or a nihilist. So tonight, I am going to lay out the perfect plot, so to speak. I'm going to show you article after article and video after video showing you that there's no way we can't not win in 2026 and increase our lead in House's Senate seats, local races, governorships, and more. Except that all the facts and logic that we know of, that we believe are against Demorats and in favor of true Americans like ourselves, true conservatives, Republicans, the GOP, the people who hold dear our beloved nation, the United States of America, particularly with regard to this next year in 2026 will be the 250th year of her birth. And then I'm going to show you what you don't want to see. I'm going to restate the premise and have you listen to what you don't want to hear. So let's start with this right now. Let's start here with our good friend, Gavin Newsom. Now, he says California high-speed rail needs another $1 billion more cash from cash-strapped California to survive. I've had this as a happy story before, and that is this. The federal government under Trump has said essentially to Gavin Newsom, you know what? You are such an abject, total scrotal failure. Whoa, I just came up with that. God, BZ, write that down. I like that. But it's true. Newsom is a total scrotal failure in terms of implementing the train that goes to nowhere. But it's sucking up all your hard-earned American taxpayer dollars. And if he fucks Californians and bends them over in their state like this, then he will have no compunction whatsoever about doing the very same to everybody in 2028, except on a national scale and potentially a global scale. So I'm sure you already see where I'm going with this. And this, here's a California state senator who said during a hearing on redistricting that they're going to have to redraw California's maps because illegal aliens won't be included. Really?
To preserve redistricting in the future is to make sure that that doesn't become the case. If California is, if a year from now, or a month from now, or if a week from now, if your cousin is kidnapped off the street, if UCLA closes down, if we announce that there won't be an election, if the census that we're relying on.
Okay, there won't be an election. Isn't this the same trite crap that they've come out with basically every election since forever? Because Trump is such a dictator, and lawfare slaps him in the face. No dictator would take that shit sitting down. Continue, Mr. Stupid.
For the commission's next stab at redistricting doesn't include 1.5 million Californians in it.
If Californians, I speak leftist, so I'll fucking translate. What that means is illegal invaders. Oh, be still my clotted little heart as I fall down. And where's my fainting couch? I'm having the fantods right now. We're not going to count the illegal invaders.
We have no democracy left, and we look back and said, if only we could have done something. Well, the nice thing about this is that we are in a time machine. We can do something. We know what is coming because it's in Project 2025. It's been.
Yeah, well, you tried everything that you possibly could under the sun, up to and including attempted assassination live on the air. You know, the Demorats, this is who they really are. We're going to fight fire with fire, says, what did I call him? Scrotal? Fuck, I've already forgotten that. Scrotal Newsom? Anyway, I'll have to go back and listen to... this is why I need to write things down, damn it.
This is radical rigging of a midterm election. Radical rigging of an election. Destroying, vandalizing this democracy, the rule of law. So I'm sorry. I know some people's sensibilities. I respect and appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these in the mouth.
So that's what Gavin Newsom thinks about you. Who started all this in terms of redistricting? Oh, BZ, it was Texas. It was Governor Abbott. That little short shit in a wheelchair. Hey, I'm glad you got there, say leftists. But who started it before them? Gavin Newsom has a supermajority in the state of California, always spell it with a K. And how did he get a supermajority? Because the states that want to gerrymander even further are those states which are already gerrymandered up the butt. And they're not going to get that many seats out of it. But wait, that's a continuing story, is it not? Let's put another story up here. This is how they think. From SF Gate. This is this was originally the San Francisco Chronicle, and then they merged with another newspaper. We are the problem. California is trying to undo decades of liberal policies. A New York Times bestseller co-authored by a California-born writer sparked real housing progress in the state. So California is encountering real housing progress. Really. Come back Tuesday night, and I will show you and play for you real housing progress. Let's say from the Palisades fire. Imagine that. Abundance, written by journalists Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson, was published in March and examines divisions in American politics. It puts a magnifying glass on liberal policy and overregulation, which the authors argue have led to severe housing shortages and a high cost of living. But you have to ask yourself this very fundamental, foundational question is, they may be saying one thing, but do they truly believe it? Well, Demorats are obviously shooting themselves in the foot. As I've said, here's another illustration. 15 Demorats were arrested for election fraud. In South Texas, one of the most significant vote harvesting cases in recent state history. But the people that were arrested in this, who are fraudulent themselves, are those on the left side of the aisle. Why is it, I'm sure you've asked, that, Republicans or the GOP don't magically, mystically benefit from fraud? It's always, it's always the Democrats who benefit from all of that. That's them shooting themselves in the foot. Just ask the GOP. No problem. Now, Politico. Politico is saying it's more like a blue trickle. Democrats are hoping for a blue wave that might not happen. See, Democrats, they're saying, Politico is saying, are betting on a blue wave next year to help them regain favor with disenchanted voters and claw back some control from Washington. Will it happen? All roads lead to probably not. Right? Isn't that what we're we, GOP, conservatives, the Republicans, isn't that what we are concluding right now? Primarily, yes. We've got this handled. We've got this in our grip, the grip of a tire fitter's hand, just like this. We're scabby, we're raw, we've worked hard to get here, and we are in it to win it. Here's another study. This is from Breitbart. God, I wish Andrew was back today. You know another person I just mentioned the other day to somebody else that I wish we had back? Rush Limbaugh. Can you feature possibly what Rush Limbaugh would be saying about these times? And if there was someone with which the troops would be rallied around, it would certainly be Rush Limbaugh, would it not? And welcome to Kiwi Lass. Good thing to see you here all the way from New Zealand. Always a pleasure to see you. So this study delineated by Breitbart says Demorats are losing registration races in all 30 states that happen to track party affiliations. That's a 4.5 million voter swing towards the GOP. Is this not great damn news? Of course it is. And conservatives and the Republicans are going to shout this from the rooftops that, hey, we've got these bad boys and bad girls on the run. And what are they going to do when we come for you? Here's another indicator that makes us think, oh, we've got these bastards by the nards. We really do. God, what was that phrase I said? I'm going to have to actually go back to the beginning of this. Scrotal something or other. But I'm going to write it down this time. But look at this. This is shocking. When you lose someone, Demorats lose someone like Bill Gates, it makes you, most people go, how does that happen? Bill Gates makes secret move at a $77 billion foundation that could have huge political implications. So what happened? What's the dealio? Bill Gates has stopped providing funds from his $77 billion foundation to a group that supports woke causes and Demorat candidates. The Gates Foundation decided in late June to stop funding grants to nonprofits managed by Washington, D.C.-based Arabella Advisors, according to an internal foundation announcement obtained by the New York Times. And so at this point, we continue to say, oh, wow, this is cool. This is wonderful, is it not? These are a continuing series of clear indicators that we will be kicking some major butt, along with this, another Breitbart story. Demorat favorability hits. Well, first it hates, then it hits 35-year low as GOP gains trust on key issues. The Demorat Party image has fallen to its lowest level since 1990, according to a Wall Street Journal poll. With that, great rounds of applause. Let us continue. Here, Elizabeth Warren talks about Mamdani and Mamdani. Mamdani is a muzzy, racist, anti-Semitic, lying, corrupt commie. And those are his good points. So what does she have to say for 20 seconds?
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable. And here are my plans, real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver. We're going to experiment. We're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message. When someone stands up and says,
and that's exactly what they want. Whatever Mom Donnie wants, they want. Now, there are a few pissheads that are throwing their lumps of poo in the punch bowl that are not going along, but they will be made to go along themselves, because that's what this party does. That's what the Demorats do. They circle the wagons. They manage to circle the wagons in ways that are abso-damn-lutely phenomenal, that are amazing. Come on.
And pollster, great to have both of you with us. Mark, let me start with you. You know, your thoughts on this appearance by Senator Warren today alongside him, and the embrace that he is getting more and more, and even among some Staten Island Jewish voters who are speaking out now in favor of Mamdani. Where's this going?
Well, look, I think you see the Democratic left.
Okay. Jewish voters in favor of Mamdani. Now you're watching this. I was watching this, and you're thinking, holy crap, there's no way that could occur. We have this thing by the glottis, by the scrotal units, and there's no way that this is going to pull through, because this is so over the top. You can't even remotely consider it feasible.
Closing ranks around Mamdani, and I think that's pretty clear. And, you know, he's been elevated on social media. So he's becoming a leader within the Democratic Party. And I think that's what the left really wants to do. I mean, look, I spent a lot of time trying to move the party to the center and did successfully do that. And it won a lot of elections that way. And so what you see here is probably the opposite direction. The Democratic Party is getting the lowest ratings that it has ever gotten in the history of the party since I know it.
Okay, so stop. Now, after reading that, after listening to that, you know, logical thinking people like you and me can conclude, as I've said thousands of times, as you listen to people on Fox, Hannity, continue to say, we've got this. Calm down. Don't get silly, stupid, or fattening. We have this. It's in the bag. There's no way it's not in the bag. And then we see stories like this, which are Democrats facing a crisis as more than two grok this concept, if you will. That's from Robert Heinlein, by the way. X stole that phrase, that word from Robert Heinlein, stranger in a strange land. And grok, all grok means is I grok that concept. I understand what you're saying. Thieves. But Demorats facing crisis as more than 2 million voters leave the party in 4 years, says the analysis. Between the 2020 and 2024 elections, Demorats lost about 2.1 million voters. Now, how can you say, that's not important? Of course it's important. And that's another leg of the table, which will indicate that we will stand. We must stand. We're going to stand, and we're going to win. So Mamdani also said, this is from the New York Post, because they're in New York, and Mamdani wants to be mayor in November. He wants to end all misdemeanor charges. It's an easy pass for criminals. And again, you and me are thinking, did you not see what occurred in Oregon? Do you not witness what is happening all around you? Oregon, to what do I refer in terms of Oregon? Oregon decided that it was essentially going to legalize all drugs. And gee, who could possibly have foreseen that the overdoses happened to kill thousands of Oregonians? And after a couple of years, Oregon leaders decided, well, I guess maybe we'll have to put drug laws back in place. Well, and then let's just completely remove misdemeanors. What's a misdemeanor? I'm sure Mothers Against Drunk Driving would love that, because most drunk driving arrests are misdemeanors. Things that have a great deal to do with your comfort and freedom are misdemeanors. Trespassing. Oh my God, trespassing. Please come Tuesday night, when I'm going to tell you about trespassing and the state of California and what's occurring with the fires. And if you thought anybody else was silly and stupid, like Newsom, it's worse than you could possibly foresee. BlackRock is buying up tons of properties. Fire sale. And they went directly into Lahaina. Fire sale. You know who also started buying properties that were burnt in the Palisades and through Lahaina in Hawaii? Why, that wouldn't be China, would it? Well, as a matter of fact, yes, it would. Well, let's continue on the train that says there is no way that Demorats are going to win with policies like this. Stop.
Step into office on the first day and he's going to realize actually the mayor doesn't have any power to raise money on the rich, and that was his plan to pay for all this crap to begin with. I'll tell you how he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay for it by raising property taxes, raising other taxes in any way that he can. The thing you got to understand is I'm from South Richmond Hill. People in the outer boroughs over there, they don't have these big fancy corporate tech jobs. They're not celebrities with fat salaries. The way they make their money is they own maybe a deli across the street, or they own a spice shop, or they work there.
And so no one with any amount of common sense would be able to say, and I'm sorry I didn't put it up, nobody with any common sense would say, well, gee, Mamdani's not going to win. How can he do the things that he says he wants to do and still survive? So it's clear. We are in the clear as the GOP, as conservatives, as little L libertarians, as you and me. Well, then Victor Davis Hanson happens to weigh in as well.
I think it's collapsed because by any classical definition, Mark, they lost the 2024 popular vote, the Electoral College vote. They don't have the Congress. They don't have the White House. They don't have the Supreme Court. They're 30s.
It's the triumvirate, like I told you. When Bush held the Oval Office and the House and the Senate, that was a good thing. And there's just like Victor Davis Hanson is saying, there's no way that the Demorats don't, as I referred in another show about 2 weeks ago, that the Demorats are going to self-immolate and they're going to they're going to flick that match by themselves. We don't need to do it. They're going to willingly do so. Now, Victor Davis Hanson is a super smart guy. And essentially what he's saying is, folks, conservatives, GOP, we are sitting in the catbird seat.
70 on the 30 side of all these issues, from crime, the environment, energy, the border, illegal immigration. And they're frustrated. They're angry because now Donald Trump is doing something they never imagined anybody would do. He's not treating the symptoms of the progressive pathology. He's talking about the sources. So he's going after the institutions that indoctrinate people in the university, NPR, PBS, the elite law firms, and that's setting them on fire because
Victor Davis Hanson says so. Let me catch up with the chat here, if I might. Kiwi Lass says the Dems make Hitler look like a hero. China, one of our biggest enemies. Unpleasant Bland Guy is here. And Phantom says, oh, also, look, who's in the chat. Cosmic Bard. Hello, did you mention a super smart guy? So I have appeared just for you. And UBG says somebody saw somebody earlier calling Trump chemo for America. Well, that's true. And that unpleasant blind guy, blind, yes, unpleasant, so-so. And that is why we're going to kick their ass next year, come November and come 2028, right? That has to be correct. And that means...
Driving home, my staff who lives here in the Hill reminded me, don't stop at a stoplight until I'm out of town. If I see a red light late at night, since there's very little traffic, slow up at the other block so I never come to a full stop except in the middle of the block because of carjackings.
So this is Biden, even back then, saying, oh, crime in D.C. is really bad. Well, that's right. Crime in D.C. is really bad. So because Trump is solving it, what that means is that there's no way There's no way that the Demorats are going to win, especially when
to get rid of Putin, unless we're going to eliminate him. We could have dropped a bomb from that B-2. We're going to have to talk to him at some point.
Who doesn't want it to succeed? Everybody wants
There
it.
are people who didn't want to see Putin walk across that red carpet and didn't like it when Trump waved to him.
and that's why Demorats are going to get their asses kicked, right? Because, talking to Putin is terrible. It's bad. Why would you want to negotiate with your enemy?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I mean, it crushed some norms having
Oh, wait until you hear this chick.
him walk across a red carpet while Trump clapped. I mean, that generally,
Oh, come
Putin
on.
doesn't
Are
get.
we really going to go through this kind of bullshit? Like it's when Obama wore a tan suit and he saluted with coffee in his hand. Who gives a shit what he walked across?
Okay, and what that means is Trump is winning, because look at the view on the gazette of this insane white chick right here, because we all know that leftist chicks are insane. And so, did you just disparaged me, Bill Maher, you evil Jew? I can guarantee you that's what she was thinking. And that's one of the reasons why, Demorats are losing. They are going to lose. Huh, Bill?
I loved it.
This year, as it relates to
That was a home run for me and for him. And I'm a guy who was always saying we should, at least when they had the deal, we should try to see if the Obama plan, the peace deal that Obama made, can work. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but once had a long conversation with Netanyahu, who was wanting to talk me into, and may I say right now, all these years later, one, maybe I was wrong. I thought it was worth a try to bring
the JCPOA.
Yes.
And see, that's another reason why the Demorats are going to lose. Because, see, if you've lost Bill Maher, then you've lost the Demorats. And that's essentially what the GOP and conservatives are saying. Let me see if I can back this up here. Un momento, por favore. Because now you've got people making a U-turn. Here's Joe Scarborough. Joe?
You think about running for something and you want to win, this is what you do. You diffuse the issues, right? So they talk about the southern border. Yeah, I agree. Too many people came in illegally. Totally agree. That's why we lost all the counties along the southern border. That's why they all shifted and went from blue to red. We totally get that.
Yeah, but that's why you've lost. And that's why you're losing now, folks. Demorats are going to lose. And they're going to lose in a way that is essentially, if you believe the GOP and Republicans and conservatives, they're going to lose in a way heretofore predominantly just, never seen.
Execute them? Do you want to give a 10-minute timeout? You're going to make them do some public service work? What is the punishment? Please tell me what the punishment is for.
Okay, stop. This is Charlie Rose. Oh my God. Okay. Well, first, this is Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Idaho. Damn it. In Idaho, where I am, we don't have a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. We have another steakhouse, but we don't have a Ruth Chris. Okay, Charlie Rose, go. God, you look like death warmed over. Not Chris. Wait till you see this guy.
And he finally came out and said, well, there had to be some form of punishment. And I said, what about the guy involved? Because there's usually a guy involved. And he said, no, nothing should be done to him. This is on the record.
Charlie.
There is this question about Donald Trump. Since he walked down or rode down the escalator, as Peter Baker expressed in a very good New York Times piece, he has dominated American politics.
And life too. I mean, Charlie, you can't get to a conversation in Washington without him. The name comes out early and with deadened force. I mean, people hate him. They talk about him in a way that is like not despicable. It's not good enough. They want him dead. Not dead. They just talk about him whether you cannot believe they're talking about a public figure. They don't want it. I look at everybody. I like this bombing of this nuclear sites. There's some things I like that he did. I think he closed the border.
But see, do you not understand? You're having so many people who once sided with the Demorats who are now making 180-degree turns. And that is obviously and clearly indicative of the fact that there's nothing but a loss in the future here. Nothing but a loss. And here Victor Davis Hanson continues.
On Trump's greatest legacy, he broke the Democratic Party. And he exposed it for what it was. It was a bi-coastal elite party with a bunch of billionaires who spend lavishly and a bunch of subsidized poor.
Okay, now if that doesn't deserve, I don't know what does. And that's another in a continuing series of indicators.
And a professional class that feels frustrated. They make $200,000 and $300,000 a year, but they live in these blue cities that are very expensive and they can't buy their beautiful home. That's what the Mamdani constituency is. Frustrated young white professionals.
And so that's why he's going to lose. Mamdani is going to lose. We have people here at SHR saying Mamdani is going to lose. Parenthesis, how can he not lose? How is it possible for a commie, muzzy, lying, socialist, anti-Semitic, racist piece of crap like that to win all of New York City? That is not feasible. That is not humanly possible. And that simply cannot and will not occur. Now, we talked about the abundance agenda. This is from The Nation. This is a massive leftist organ. Kiwi last, Trump has returned the Constitution. Why the abundance agenda could sink the Demorat Party. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And this is about the time that BZ says something similar to, and you noticed I didn't have a break. I'm just going to keep going until I'm done. There's more here, is there not? Big money donors are using the abundance agenda to create a permission structure for Demorat elites to dismiss the populist revival the party so desperately needs. Well, is it going to go there? Or is it not? One of the two. What's the truth? So let's watch and listen to some opposing views who, dare I posit, may actually be true. And then I'm going to wrap things up tonight with a 5-minute video from this dude named Scott Pressler. And he has long hair and he's gay and blah, 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 blah. He's the young dude that is individually responsible for turning the entire state of Philadelphia red for President Trump last November. Do you like him more now? You should. He was responsible for handing over an entire state to Trump 47. So the point of the story tonight, before I go into some other indicators, the point of the story tonight, the veritable crux of the biscuit, as I am wont to say, is that facts, good vibes, evidence, none of it matters. For those of you who just tuned in, none of it matters. And if you want me to say it again, none of it matters, not in the slightest. We could possibly see a muzzy, racist, anti-Semitic, lying, America-hating, cop-hating socialist, truly a communist piece of shit. Well, communists owning things like, property, that's overrated. You could see Zohran Mamdani be installed as mayor of New York in November. And I'm sure Some people are saying, and I'm sure some good, some well and truly well-intentioned individuals are saying, that could never happen. Really. Apparently you haven't gotten the concept of the whole show tonight. Let's throw this in, because now what's happening? The playbook has been ripped from the hands of many on the GOP, and now the Demorats are coming back on the playbook. And remember what I said, facts don't matter. Everything beforehand, especially with Governor Oil Hair here, that will all be unremembered. That will all be thrown into the closet. That will be memory hold. And no one, especially the American media maggots, because it's their job, will allow you to remember, because the story now is this. In order to get to 2028, Gavin Newsom flip-flops on oil, wants more production to avoid $8 gas. Well, it's not just that. Would it surprise you? I have a bunch more examples like this. Now, yes, this is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson saying, I'm signing an executive order to block federal troops from being deployed in my gorgeous city. And then there's this. DC Mayor, apparently Muriel Bowser, has received the electrons flowing through the air and has grabbed them and has said, well, look, Mayor Muriel Bowser says she's grateful for Trump's assistance with the city's crime problem. Imagine that. Well, you don't have to really imagine that. They're coming back and using the same playbook. It really shouldn't shock you. A week ago, I said something similar to Ralph Benko was on my program probably 4 years ago. Rules for Radicals. He was the president of the Alinsky Center, and he said, I never really understood why it was that conservatives or the Republicans don't use rules for radicals. It's there to be utilized by everyone, one and everyone, one and the same, anyone who can grab the book and read it. Then there's this. Maryland's Demorat governor invites President Trump to help clean up Baltimore. There are places in Baltimore, row houses, that nothing has been done with them since the 1968 riots. Yeah, I see the twat alert. There's some fucktard, and I'm not going to give him a name or a showing. He's here in chat. Big fucking deal. Just another turd whistle. So, the message is starting to be received. Here's another one. This was a big problem. This is a big problem. Trump says allowing Chinese students in, 600,000 of them, is the right thing to do. I voted for Trump 3 times. And this is a massively stupid thing to do. Incredibly stupid. Because 600,000 students is nothing but 600,000 more spies for the Comchink empire. So invite them all in. That's a really, really stupid thing to do. Then another story that says, hey, Demorats have the perfect messengers on urban crime if only they'd use them. Well, don't think that that's not in the offing as well. Plus, from the Daily Caller, Matt Towery says to the GOP about midterms and tells them how to prepare for that. Now, all of these articles will be up in the Rumble portion of my show, but let me jump ahead because I'm running out of time. There's this story. Democrats more motivated to vote in 2026 despite favorability slump. Okay. And then the final story that I want to relay to you. I think I've got enough time for this. This is from Scott Pressler. This is worth every bit of your listening to.
Hey everybody, this is Scott Pressler. I'm not here to bring you a happy video. I'm here to give you a dose of reality. It's August 29th. I want you to bookmark this. You timestamp this right now. It's after 2 a.m. and I'm out walking my 6 miles as I do every single day. And I'm here to tell you, Republicans are going to lose everything this November unless we change things, and quickly. You're going to lose the governorship in Virginia, and you're going to have a Democrat. You're going to lose the governorship in New Jersey, and you're going to have Mikey Sherrill, Murphy 2.0. And in Pennsylvania, where we have been working tirelessly, nonstop, even since the election, we're on the verge of having 3 Democrat Supreme Court justices retained until 2035. Republicans, I hate to say it, and I love ya, but I'm going to be honest. You are absolutely clueless. And it's not just the leadership at the top, but I have to say to our voters, if you are only planning to vote on election day on Tuesday, November 4th, consider the election's gone. Over. Game over. You've already lost. If you do not engage in early voting, whether in person or in Pennsylvania, the convoluted in-person on-demand mail-in voting, and if you don't request a mail-in ballot, you are going to lose everything. And I'm making this video, number one, because we still have 66 days to change things. And we still have 2 months to make things right. But at the same time, I'm also making this as a Scott was right video, that if and when Republicans do not embrace early voting and mail-in voting, and we lose everything, I want to be able to point to this video and say, well, I tried to tell you. I tried to warn you. I tried to put a lantern out and Paul Revere the upcoming elections. And let's see who listens. You know, in 2022, the machines went down on election day in Arizona, and we have Katie Hobbs. Wonderful. In Nevada, we lost an election by 8,000 votes because it snowed on election day. And in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, we have John Fetterman today, in part because they ran out of paper on election day. And if Republicans do not learn from history, we are undoubtedly going to repeat the same mistakes and then wonder why. And I have to say, there has been a contingency of people attacking me for trying to do everything in my power to get Republicans elected into office. And none of these people have talked about Winsome Sears for governor in Virginia. None of these people have talked about Jack Ciattarelli for New Jersey governor. And none of these people have talked about voting no to retention to Democrats Doherty, Donahue, and Wett. And it makes me wonder, these people that are attacking me, while I'm a gentleman that started an organization with 25 full-time staff on the ground in Pennsylvania. I have 14 full-time staff on the ground in New Jersey. And even meanwhile, being on the ground, going from the York State.
What's he saying? He's saying that local elections, we're ignoring. We are ignoring the local stuff. And we're putting rhinos in first position. We are shooting ourselves in the foot. Oh, we have all the facts. We have God on our side. I seem to remember something similar to God helps those who help themselves. And this guy makes continuously great observations.
State Fair to register voters, to the Crawford County Fair to register voters, to the Center County Fair to register voters, to the GDS Fair to register voters. And I'm going to Luzerne County Fair as well. And even having the ability and the diligence and the dedication and determination to lose 45 pounds while doing everything else that I do, it really makes me wonder, A, what are these people doing? And B, why aren't they doing everything in their power to elect Republicans into office instead of attacking our own with friendly fire?
But we do that. That's our biggest problem. It's absolutely amazing. Canada Heavy Haul in chat. Good to see you also. And vote early and request a mail-in ballot to Horde, but get that vote in. The times of not, well, I'll get to this. I will get to the summary. Council, get to your summary soon. Wrap it up.
Take that as you will, but you hear me loudly, you hear me clearly, and you hear me once for all. Republicans, if you do not embrace early voting and mail-in voting for the upcoming Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 election, you will lose everything. And that's good.
But wait, we have to be the good guys. Is it illegal to do these things? No. Do we have a national prohibition against this? No, we don't. Will there be one? Likely not. If it's installed, will it get shot down? Likely. You got to do anything that you can. That's what Scott Pressler is saying, and that's what I'm saying. So listen up, kiddies. Continue.
Going to set us up for failure in 2026. If you were loyal to President Trump, if you were loyal to keeping the House, if you were loyal to keeping the Senate, then you do everything in your power to elect Republicans in PA, VA, and NJ this November. If I can do everything that I can do, then I need y'all to step up. I need y'all to do more. You have 66 days to make a change and make a difference.
And it's not going to happen unless we decide that we have the concerted, unified will to do all of that, to do all of those things. Here's what we need to realize. We could possibly see California Governor Gavin Newsom win his push for state redistricting, making a state holding a super majority of Demorats become a super majority with additional House seats. You know, it's like, wait, how do you, are you understanding what you're saying? How does that possibly happen? That absolutely blows me away. It could happen. Historically, here's the deal. What I'm saying tonight, historically, we conservatives and Republicans, then as now, we have been way too smug, way too arrogant, way too assumptive, way too complacent, and frankly, too damn lazy. And that's why I'm telling you tonight, as I told everybody at the beginning of tonight's show, that the coming elections are basically the whose line is it anyway, where the facts don't matter. Okay? Because they don't. It's clear. You see it. I see it. We're not stupid. You're not stupid. Facts don't matter. Your thoughts and beliefs don't matter. That's a shocking thing to even consider. Because they don't. There's only one thing that matters. One thing that matters. Getting our asses out to vote. Winning. That is the only thing that matters. Winning is the only thing that matters. Getting out, voting. Oh, we have facts on our side. Immaterial. Absolutely immaterial. So, folks, that's it for tonight. I'm BZ. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see you in just a couple of days in the Saloon this coming Tuesday night. And like I've said any number of times, if you think the crap that you've seen and heard up to today is ridiculous, oh, just wait till I show you the crap that's occurring in California. So, folks, I'll see you in a few more days in the Saloon this coming Tuesday. Everybody, everywhere, God bless. Take care. Be safe. Good night.